Have you ever heard of intentional sleep? Well, I have because my wife showed me an article about 2 weeks ago that just left me stumped. I've never had a reaction like that. I just didn't know what to say. I was just completely bewildered and stumped. And today, I want to show you why. I want to go over that article with you. And I want to share this with you that when we understand why so much, nearly everything of what we hear online leads us in the direction of struggle, we can see that going in the opposite direction is what leads to peaceful sleep and peace of mind. So, we're going to look at this article with the intent, of course, of learning from it in a way that can be really helpful for you on your path to where you want to be. And before we jump in, I just want to say that if you have been thinking of becoming a sleep coach, joining the movement, there's a small group of us now that are really, coming together as a community and building things up. And we're seeing Coach Alina, Coach Brittany becoming successful coaches. And if you want to join again, May 15th is when we start our next batch. So you're welcome to apply. You can find the link on our website at the very top there. Now, back to our article for today. Again, 2 weeks ago, my wife showed me something. She said, take a look at this. And it just left me stumped. It left me, in a place I don't know if I've ever been in that place, when it comes to thinking about sleep. Anyways, it is from the Deep Sleep Company, How to Sleep Intentionally. And again, as always, speaking of intentions, I think the author probably just wanted to put something out there that they thought were helpful, but we'll see how really, really tricky this is. So again, the article is How to Approach Sleep Intentionally. And when I saw that, I was like, what are they going to talk about here? And then let's read the first part here. Sleep is often perceived to be a passive activity, if not the most passive activity we do. When bedtime rolls around, we brush our teeth and slide under the covers until our bodies and brains put us into a state of rest. The next day, we wake up and go about our business, often without thinking anything of how the night went. It's understandable that we let our brains relax and turn off after a long day of being wakeful and active. However, what if we told you that changing the way you see and pay attention to sleep could significantly improve your sleep quality and waking life? And this guide will explain how to do just that. I mean, that paragraph itself just like almost made my mind explode. Basically, what the author is saying here is if you look at sleep as this passive process, you don't need to do anything. You just like brush your teeth, go to bed, sleep, you wake up feeling all right. And that's not good enough. There's a problem there. You have the potential actually focusing more on your sleep to get even more out of it, like squeeze that lemon even more. And I just went like, oh my gosh, this is like completely the opposite of what we know leads to sleeping well. So that was my initial reaction. And then I was still curious, like, what do they mean? So let's go there. What does intentional sleep mean? Intentional sleep is all about awareness. It's about being mindful of your nightly routine, the process of falling asleep and waking up, and everything else that goes into the ritual of sleep. While awareness is good for our mental health, it can also be incredibly beneficial to our physical health, helping us figure out what we need to do to get our bodies the best sleep as possible. This is literally taking someone who has no struggle to sleep and telling them, pay more attention to your sleep, focus on it, do things to sleep better, which we know we've heard so many times can lead to this intense struggle with sleep that we call insomnia, this fear of not sleeping, thinking we have to sleep to be productive, etc., etc. And I'm not going to stay too much longer on this topic. I want to talk about what makes us sleep well, of course. But just to look at kind of what is their guide here. Well, one is I think they have four things, and they used to have four things here. Yeah. So one is journal at night and in the morning. And now when I saw that, I was like, okay, maybe there's something helpful here. And they say, try to keep a pen and paper next to your bed and jot down any worries you have or things that you need to get done. Allow them to leave your mind. You could also try keeping a sleep journal. And actually, that part makes like total sense. which in a way is even more confusing because now you have, this really confused intro mixed with something that can be really helpful. And in a way, it's sort of a dangerous mix because that can, when something is helpful, it can make you believe the whole. But that part, like journaling without any intent, but to just like acknowledge your thoughts, see your thoughts, be with your thoughts, can be really, really helpful. And number two is meditate before bed. And here we have sort of the same thing. To meditate without intent, without intent is really beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. We're just sitting and we are allowing ourselves to hear our thoughts, to feel our emotions. And when our emotions are heard, when our thoughts are heard, then that message from our brain is heard again. And it doesn't need to repeat the message, which happens often when we try to stop it. And the problem here, of course, because becomes like if meditation becomes something we do with an intent to sleep, then it's no longer true meditation. It is just a sleep effort. It's just another attempt to sleep. Create a mindful bedtime routine. Very, very similar. What's wrong with doing something nice and relaxing and peaceful in the evening? That's beautiful. But if you're intentionally trying to think about how brushing your teeth, flossing, hot water like that, how that's gonna impact your sleep, then you're just creating more and more effort. And then use a sleep tracker, which we've seen so often that the more we try to monitor and control our sleep, the more struggle we have. So what really confused me and made me like really stumped me was this, this what they said early in the article, that sleep is often thought of as a passive process, but we shouldn't think of it like that. We should treat it like an active thing, and we should try to squeeze more out of it and get more things from sleep, which we see leads to struggle. So I think when we see this, we may not hear of intentional sleep that often, in sort of social media or the online space, but the idea behind it is very, very common. The idea is that you should do things to sleep more. You should do things to sleep better. If you do things to sleep more, then you will be more productive. You'll be happier. You'll do well in school. Everything will be better for you if you do things to sleep better. And we know that leads to struggle. So what I thought of doing, and I didn't do it, was actually to sort of take this article and just put at least the first part like in reverse and say that when you think of sleep as a passive process, when it's completely unintentional in the sense that you don't do anything to let it happen, that's when magic happens. That's when you arrive at this place what they describe, a person who doesn't try to sleep, doesn't doesn't try to get benefit out of sleep beyond just resting, right? So again, if we leave those intentions, leave the pressure, and do the opposite of what we heard here, then sleep happens all by itself. And I just want to share with you. I hope you find this helpful. And in future Heart Onlines, I think we're going to look a little bit more at maybe specific health concerns that are touted, and look at those. But anyway, want to share this. As always, let me know what you thought, and look forward to having you here real soon. Until then, stay out of trouble. Bye bye.